To observe the Panchasila, let us chant 3 times. Namo tassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dhammam saranam gacchami.
Dhammang saranang gacchami.
Sangham saranam gacchami.
Sanghang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Dutiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sangham saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Surāmeraya majjapamā dattāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Suramere majjapamā dattāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami.
Samantā cakkavālesu atrā gaccantu devata. Saddhammang muni rājassa sunantu sagga mokkadang. Dhammasavana kālo ayang badanta. Dhammasavana kālo ayang badanta. Dhammasavana kālo ayang badanta. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sakko ujuca sujuca suaco cassa muduanati mani. It is a great pleasure and a great merit for us to be here today to speak the Dhamma over this channel, the Buddhist channel. I wish to thank the Venerable Kusala Dhamma Thero for making it possible for us to do this great action, for us to perform merit. The object today is the parents, namely Padmini and Ranjit Tilakaratna of Horton Place. They want to bless their children who are living abroad. They want to give them the gift of the Dhamma, which is the highest gift. So with that intention, they invited me, and I am so happy to be with you to speak the Dhamma. It's really the wedding anniversary of Kamil Tilakaratna, their son, and Mihirini Tilakaratna, their daughter-in-law. And they are living in Canada. And then their second son, Madhujit Tilakaratna and Ushani Tilakaratna, living in England. And Hiranti Tilakaratna, Hiranjit Tilakaratna, who is living in England and still studying. So the idea is these parents want to bless them and give them the gift of the Dhamma. So it is a great thing, because we want to not only give them education and technology and how to live the world in the material world, they also want to give them the spiritual aspect, how to live a happy and satisfactory life, how to live according to the Dhamma. So we have to bless each and every one of you here, as well as all of those who will have the fortune to listen to us and be with us and join us in this great merit-making moment. I thought it is good, because they are newly married, I thought it is good to talk to them about how to practice Dhamma in daily life. So I just spoke to you one verse from the Karaniya Metta Sutra. Sakko ujucha sujucha. What is the meaning of this? We must not only learn the Dhamma, we must practice it. There are three ways of learning. It is called Suttamaya Jnana, that is by listening and comprehension. Suttamaya is to listen. So listening to the Dhamma and learning the Dhamma is very important. Chintamaya Dhamma, Chintamaya is to think about it, think deeply what the Buddha has to say. Because to a mind that is not willing to accept and think, they cannot understand the deeper realities in the Dhamma. So you have to think, Chintamaya Jnana. You have to get the wisdom through thinking. And Bhavanamaya Panya is by meditating upon it. So there are three ways where you can practice Dhamma in daily living. So two young couples living abroad, the parents are always thinking of them. They want to give them the gift of the Dhamma. So, Sakko ujucha suj. What is the meaning of Sakko? In this world, the Buddha says, you have to be very clever. Sakko means haki. No haki means naki. You cannot do anything. Sakko means you're clever, persevering, willing, and hard-working, and skilled, able to do anything. That is one of the requirements for daily living, and also for the attainment of Nibbana and for the spiritual gain. Also you must be clever, skillful. If you are lazy and lethargic, there is no possibility you can prosper in this world or find any meditational level where you can become enlightened. So, sakko is the first requirement. Sakko ujucha sujucha. Uju means irju. Irju means straight, honest, and not deceiving anyone. You have to be extremely honest. So for us who are living in the mundane world also, it is so important to be honest, especially to your husband, to your wife. So the Buddha speaks of honesty as one of the requirements for daily living. You have to be very honest. And you cannot think one thing and speak another thing and do another thing. You cannot be a contradiction. You have to speak what you think and you have to act according to that. So that is being honest with your spouse, with your wife, with your husband, with friends, at your working place. Wherever you are, you have to be extremely honest. So there are no secrets as such. There is no public life and private life. Honesty is that purity of conduct. Uju, that means avanka, not crooked in their thinking, straight in their thinking. Sujucha, extremely honest, not just a little bit, extremely above board. So they live a life of purity. Their minds are not restless and agitated because they have never done or anything to deserve blame. Their minds don't blame them. So it is so important to have lead a life, a blameless life. So the Buddha says to be very honest and very clever, willing to work and skilled in working, doing whatever they want to do to perfection, not in halves and quarters, to do it completely, beautifully, look back and be happy that you have performed a good job of work in mundane living. Sakko ujucha sujucha suacho chassa mudu anatimani. Suacha means willing to listen, willing to take advice. If you are proud and conceited, you will not listen to anyone. You will not want to get advice. So it's important to get advice. It is important to be humble, to listen. So if you are not willing to listen, then you can't learn. And then you have no spirituality as such, because the higher ethics you cannot practice. So it is good to be humble and willing to listen, to get advice. Mudu anatimani. Mudu means gentle, not rough, not loud, soft, and gentle in their speech. They speak only words that are good to hear, words full of kindness, full of wisdom. Nela, kanna sukha, bahujana kanta manapa, words that are nice to hear. Bahujana kanta manapa means what a lot of people like to hear. Hadyangama, close to the heart. So when we speak to each other, we must learn how to be nice and kind and gentle in our speech and actions. Murdu means you are soft and malleable, and not hard and stiff, willing to bend, willing to listen, willing to learn. Now these are qualities in which we must practice. Then it becomes a habit of the mind. Then your whole life you will lead like that. It comes with practice. So we need to practice this daily in our daily living. Anattimani, na attimani anatimani. It means that not to be proud and conceited. This is what the Buddha says in the Karaniya Metta Sutta. Not to be proud, because if you are full of ego and proud and conceited, you will not be able to see the point of view of the other person. So the arguments can occur, each one holding to his ego and pride. So you cannot resolve problems. Whenever there is a household problem, you must give up your ego and pride and come down and speak in a soft and mild way and tease out the problem. So the Buddha has shown how to be without pride. It's a very important thing. When people are proud, they don't see the truth. They see only their point of view. They don't see the point of view of the other. And often there are misunderstandings. So the Buddha has categorically said this, to give up pride. So these things we have to practice. The nature is that we have attachment, and attachment does not come alone. It comes with its retinue. Attachment we call greed. It becomes more intense and grasping, and it's connected with pride and conceit. So all these aspects are things that arise in the mind. It pollutes the mind. So we must learn how not to pollute one's mind. When the mind is full of greed, then your speech and action is also greed. If your mind is full of hatred, then your speech and action is also hatred. So you will see that these things start in the mind. And you have to be very vigilant about the mind. The Buddha's entire discourse on Satipatthana is how to be mindful. Mindful of the mind. What am I thinking? Is it right? Am I thinking kusala or akusala? Am I thinking wholesome things or unwholesome things? Is my thinking wholesome? So all the time you have to look at your own mind. But I think in normal life, people never look at their mind. They try to see other people's mind, which they can't do. Our mind, only we know. Not even the person closest to you knows our mind. So the mind can be seen with the mind. You cannot see the mind in any other way, unless you have supernormal powers. When the Buddha and the Arahants, they had supernormal powers, and they could see the minds of other people. But for us, this ordinary, for mundane living, we have to understand that we can only see our mind. So when there is some defilement in the mind, we can recognize it. If we have enough mindfulness. So meditation is mostly for that. When you do meditation, you become very critical of yourself because you can see how your mind is working. So if it is unwholesome, then we quickly stop and then change the channel. If it is anger, stop it. Don't continue to live with anger. Give up your anger because it is hurting you more than anything else. So the Buddha in his meditation has shown all the time how to work with your anger. It comes with feelings. When the feelings are bad, then you react with anger. When the feelings are good and comfortable, then your anger doesn't arise, but attachment and greed can arise. So the Buddha says to be careful about feelings. Always understand what feelings are. Feelings are impermanent. Feelings come and go, they never stay. Where are all the feelings we had? In the past, we had happy feelings, unhappy feelings, when we were crying. Where are those? Gone, forgotten. Because that is the nature of feelings. If you don't know the nature of feelings, there is a chance that when you get good feeling, you become attached to the good feeling. And you become a victim to that feeling. Because once you have attachment, then the next thing is to have greed and grasping. You want it more and more and more. I want to ask you a question. Are you satisfied with one good feeling? No? Two good feelings? No? How many good feelings do you want? All the time? Every day? Until you die? Yeah, we need good feelings. Now what is it that we are raising for good feelings? We want more, more, more. And there is greed and grasping for good feeling. And for bad feeling, when things are bad, you see something bad, you hear something bad you don't like. And then what happens? Your mind is full of anger, hatred, you want to get rid of it. And then you end up with anger. So these are defilements in the mind. When these defilements occur, then naturally your speech and action also become the same. So what we do by good conduct and by living a life of merit, you become very generous. You give up your bad habits, you give up your wrong thinking, you give up your prides and conceits, you give up your angers and prejudices. If you don't know how to do it, then you have to live with it, and that will hurt you more and more. And that will punish you. Because when you have bad feelings and when you are unhappy with your life, then you don't enjoy life. You can't do any of the good things. You can't be happy with your life. So for that reason, for your sake, you have to give up defilements. And that comes with a little bit of practice, mostly with meditation. Now I think the whole world is turning into meditation. Many, many people around the world, they know that these defilements start in the mind. And we have to look after the mind. What am I thinking? Am I thinking good, wholesome things? Or am I thinking unwholesome things? So once you are vigilant about your thinking, then you know what to think and what not to think. So as soon as defilements arise, we know how to switch off and change the channel and start thinking good. For this we need, especially as husband and wife, newly married, you can always see there are some problems that can arise when you live close, when you live under the same roof, and then you misunderstand. And that's the time to work with your Dhamma. Understand. First thing is to learn the art of forgiving. Anattimani also means forgiving. People are bad in this world, at your workplace, everywhere. There can be bad people. They hurt you, they blame you, they worry you. And also there are the natural circumstance, living a very fast life. You have to keep to deadlines, and so there's a volume of work which you have to complete in such a short time. And then when you get frustrated, you become depressed, you cannot continue your work, and then anger and restlessness can arise. So in the home, in the workplace, or wherever you are, these defilements arise in the mind. That's why we have to be vigilant of the mind. Then we know that this defilement has arisen, and we know how to deal with it, how to get rid of it. Especially in Metta Bhavana, in loving kindness meditation, we practice that again and again. How to give up, how to forgive, how to tolerate people, and how to have a loving kindness in your mind. Now, loving kindness is not the same as ordinary love. Loving kindness in the Pali we say metta or maitri. It is different from the ordinary love in the sense, maybe with the husband and wife, maybe in the daily living. People say, if you love me, I love you. If not, I don't love you. So that is, you expect returns. It's a business. If I get back what I give, only I will give you. But in loving kindness, it's not the same. Especially the loving kindness that parents have for their children. They make so many sacrifices, but they never expect anything in return. It's well and good if the children know how to respect their parents and how to conform to their wishes and how to please them. It's a great merit for children to be obedient, to be loving and caring and sharing to their parents. Because parents have sacrificed so much, and that also with that altruistic joy. They never expect returns for the kindness they have shown. That's the kind of kindness that the Buddha speaks about. Be kind and generous to the whole world of living beings. Practice it as an art, as a meditation, again and again. That's why in Sri Lanka we often have metta meditation. May all beings be well and happy. In the morning you get up, as soon as you get up, you say, may the whole world of living beings be well and happy. You say it so many times. You say it in your mind. You get used to the habit of chanting it to in your mind until it becomes normal. So when you become so happy with your mind, it is difficult to be angry. because all the time you are forgiving. Before anger can arise, you switch off the anger. So long as there is anger in the mind, there is no loving kindness. So long as there is loving kindness in the mind, there is no anger. So they are opposites. So the only way to combat anger, resentment, fear, doubt, all these things come in a package. So we must learn how to understand these states of mind and then apply the proper palliative and get rid of it at a mental level. If you don't get rid of it at a mental level, it goes into your memory, and then again and again you think of it. Of any bad feeling, any bad situation, you don't know how to get rid of it. You don't know how to forget it. But if you know meditation, you know how to quickly switch it off and then forgive and apply this palliative. May all living beings be well and happy. That way, you always straighten your mental, your thinking, your attitudes, your whole character will change, and you will become a peaceful person, enjoying the little comforts we have. If you are angry, can you enjoy comforts? You cannot, even if you are so rich and powerful. Still, if your mind is full of greed, will you be satisfied with what you get? So, it is so important to be satisfied. And the Buddha says, Suvachocha samuddu anatimani santussa kocha subharocha. Santussa means santutti, satuta. Always be happy with whatever you have. Be happy. In the first place, we have to be very happy that we have a birth here in the human realm. We are human beings. It is a great merit to have a human birth and also to have such good parents. So you can be satisfied with your birth, and also you can be satisfied you have eyes, you have ears, you can hear, you have a good brain, you have a good status, you have education. So you can be very happy with your life. So contented with whatever we get. If we get little, we are happy. If we get more, we are happy. So there never a day when we are not happy. So the Buddha says, practice it, being happy with whatever you get, being contented, santutti, santussakocha, subharocha, subhara. Bhara means not to be overladen with work and too much stress. I know in those countries they work very fast. They work maybe 12 hours a day, and they have to work and keep to schedules. And then there's a lot of stress in that work. But I think comparatively here in Sri Lanka we are less stress-ridden. Of course we may be poor, but there are not so much stress as you would see in those countries. So for that, you have to know their limits, not to overwork and not to underdo. The right amount of work that you can handle. So the Buddha says, subharocha, bara. Bara is not to be too heavily laden, too many things to do. So your minimum requirements for daily living, not too many things, I had a friend in the university. She had only 5 saris. When she gets a 6th sari, she will give one of those away. Because she thinks that 5 saris are enough. But if you had 100 saris, 100 pairs of shoes, how difficult, because you are laden up. You have too much of greed to possess. So the Buddha says, be very frugal in your living. You have only what you need, not what you have greed for. So be careful about the things that you carry. There are some, if they want to go abroad, they have to take their personal belongings are so heavy. Learn to go with few. The monks and nuns are told, the Buddha says, Sapatta baharo vadeti. Just like the birds that carry only their wings. They don't carry weight. So be free all the time. So monks have to carry only their bowl and robes, not many personal belongings. So then they live not heavily laden. So these are little advice coming from the sutra of the Buddha, which we can daily practice. And when we know also that as human beings, we have brought a lot of merit into this world. Otherwise you can't get a human mother. So we have brought a lot of good karma into this world. That's all we brought. Did we bring this body when we came? No. The body was formed inside the mother's womb. That's a gift from the parents. We didn't bring the body. What did we bring into this world? Good karma. We have done so much good karma to deserve a human life. So we are born into this. And we have to be so happy and satisfied that as human beings we have reached the highest level materially. But that is also not enough. Spiritually, where we live as good and noble human beings, how they can learn and practice being generous to the world, being kind and loving. So these are things which they have to practice daily. Giving up too much attachment, giving up anger and pride, and becoming more and more generous to the world, to the entire world of living beings. That is, in short, a message of the Buddha for people to practice in their daily living. So I think these children who are listening probably in Canada and in England, the children of Padmini and Ranjit Tilakaratna will be very interested that their parents are wishing them and blessing them to live a noble life, to live happily, to forgive each other, to forgive the world, practice generosity, giving, giving, giving. So, not only must you forgive, you must be able to share, sharing, caring, loving, and that is the way you can be always happy, not a moment of unhappiness. Be quite satisfied with whatever you have. That doesn't mean that you cannot reach for more. It means that if you have more, you are also satisfied. It is not the fault of money that people are unhappy. It is the attachment to money that makes you unhappy. It is not that you are having big house or you are having a luxury car, that is the problem. But it is this attachment to the luxury that is the problem. I will tell you a small story. It's an ancient story of two monks. One monk was living in the forest. He's a forest monk. His great friend is a town monk. So the town monk is living in luxury. He has a huge monastery and he has so many good things. And he has a life of luxury. Whereas this forest monk has given up all of it. One day, this forest monk came and said, "Venerable, you are living in the town, you are living in luxury, you are living like a layperson. Surely you didn't wear the robe to live like a layperson. We will go to the forest and do meditation." And this monk agreed. He said, "Yes, we will go to the forest and meditate." So on the appointed day, the forest monk came to fetch this town monk. But the forest monk had quite a bundle with him of things, the requisites for the forest. But the town monk, he only took his bowl and robes and walked out. Now I want you to answer me. Who has more greed, the forest monk or the town monk? So you see, it's not a question of having big luxuries, but how much attachment you have. Then it seems the forest monk asked, "Venerable, where are your requisites? Where are your things?" He said, "What things? Why, all those things, the luxuries you have around, you are not taking any?" No, I was only looking after them. I don't need them. I can live without them." Do you see this? So, you may have luxuries, but you may not be attached to them. You can give them up anytime. You can give up and give away. But you are looking after them. You're carefully looking after everything. For the use, for friends, you keep open house. So people can come and enjoy the luxuries. You can, for yourself, live without luxuries. I think Padmini is one like that. She told me she eats only once a day. So even if you have so much food, you don't have to eat it. Even if you have so much luxuries, you don't have to be having attachment to it and become an addict to it. Anytime you can give it up. So the Buddha speaks of this kind of good and noble way of living spirituality, where the mind is always happy. The mind is willing to forgive. The mind is willing to make others happy. It's very important to make others happy. I want to ask you this question. Are you interested in your happiness or the happiness of your wife or your husband? It should be that way. The wife must think of the happiness of the husband, and the husband must think of the happiness of the wife, so that they don't trespass their loyalties, they don't become selfish in their pursuit for happiness. So this is something we have to be very careful. In this world, people try to get happiness by doing wrong things. Some people kill, and in the case of war, you find people killing and they are happy. The more they kill, the more they are happy. Sometimes they rob and steal and they are happy. Well, I have got something. Sometimes they deceive others and they become happy. Sometimes they misconduct, sexual misconduct, and they are happy. Sometimes they take drugs and liquor and they become happy. So for happiness, people do things like that. Now, what is the difference between that happiness and this kind of happiness that I was talking to you about, what the Buddha speaks about? Being kind and good and honest and upright and loving and caring and sharing and helping each other and living a life of ease and comfort. You'll find that one is hell-bound because their minds are saturated with greed, hatred, and ignorance. Therefore, they try to seek happiness through their ignorance. But when you are spiritually enlightened, you seek happiness through non-greed, non-hate, and wisdom. And that is the kind of happiness that is divine. You live like good and noble human beings, and when you die, also you get born into the higher realms. So the Buddha shows us the path, not only to heaven, not only to live a life of divinity, to live like divine people, but also to see the end of this samsaric journey. So it is good for us to follow this path because it makes us happy while we are living here. And when we die, also we are happy because we get a good rebirth. Whereas those that get happiness through unfair means, through war, through making weapons, for killing, for hurting, they think for power. A lot of people are power-stricken, so they think that they can get their power anyway, and they are full of greed, hatred, and ignorance. And for them, it is hell-bound. They live also unhappily, and when they die, they get a rebirth that is unhappy. So today we have a wonderful meeting you, Padmini, and Ranjit. I'm sure you are very happy that you have brought up 3 beautiful sons, and they are living well in Canada and in England. And then this is your gift for their wedding anniversary. So isn't it a wonderful idea that without giving a material gift, you have given them a spiritual gift which will help them in their present life and for their entire samsaric journey. So I think we have nearly come to the end of today's talk. So we bless them again and again. We bless Padmini and Ranjit for making it possible for us to speak the Dhamma. And also we bless Kamal and Mihiri in Canada. And we bless Madhujit and Ushani in England. And also Hiranjit in England, who is studying. And we also wish that they will live like their parents, good and noble human beings. And they are happy in their own life, and they give and radiate happiness to the entire world. So, with that, we have to, I think, end this Dhamma talk. And by the merit that we acquired by speaking the Dhamma and listening to the Dhamma, when you listen to the Dhamma also, our minds are full of non-greed, non-hate and wisdom, and that is good merit. So we have acquired much merit today, and all this merit we like to share, especially with our Venerable Kusala Dhamma Thero, who initiated the Buddhist channel, and also we like to bless all of you here and all our friends and all those who like to practice the Dhamma, who want to live like good and noble human beings, enjoy life by all means, and may they all get their wishes fulfilled, and may they be happy always, never an unhappy moment. That is what the Buddhist way of life is. Always happy, contented, sharing, caring, forgiving, giving, loving. And also, it will be a great thing for you to do some meditation wherever you are, so you know how to deal with your mind. So when unhappy things arise in the mind, you know how to get rid of them and forgive, and then practice loving kindness. Thank you very much for being with us. May you be happy all the day. Ichitang pachitang tuyang kippameva saminjatu sabbe purentu citta sankappa chando panarasiyata ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha atho nibbana sampatti iminate saminjatu. The meaning is, ichitang is whatever you wish for. Pachitang prarthana, whatever you have, your aim and purpose. Kippameva saminjatu means, soon may it come into fulfillment. Sabbe purentu citta sankappa, may all your wishes, citta sankappa, May all your wishes come true, come into fulfillment. Chando panna rasiyara, just like the moon, day by day that comes into fulfillment on full moon day. Panna rasi is the full moon day. On the full moon day, so the Buddha says, just like that, may all your wishes come true day by day. Ayurarogya sampatti, may you enjoy long life, and arogya is good health. Sagga sampatti, people like you who are given to this kind of good and noble way of living, who practice good generosity and loving kindness, and who live with Dhamma in their hearts. Sagga sampatti, when they die, they get born into the Sagga world, Swarga world, that is the divine world. Ato Nibbana sampatti, and eventually may you also reach the heights of Nibbana. So may all of you be well and happy.